Our story this morning regards the FBI, Donald Trump, and Russiagate. There has been a new report released by special counsel working for the Department of Justice relating to all that stuff as it relates to Russiagate and how the FBI got involved in that in the first place. So there was a special counsel appointed by Merrick Garland to look into this, Mr. Durham, and he has released a report. So Mr. Durham is like Mr. Mueller in this respect. Special counsel, same kind of role. Someone appointed outside the standard chain of command to look into a special matter. And he has released his report, so let's take a look and see what he said. In a 306-page report, the special counsel, John Durham, said the agency's inquiry into the whole Russian collusion thing lacked analytical rigor. So when the FBI was looking into Russia and Donald Trump and collusion and all that stuff, yeah, there were some problems over in FBI and so were their protocols on how they handle such things. The report concludes that the FBI did not possess evidence of collusion before launching an inquiry, which is kind of strange because normally when the police of any variety are looking into a thing, it's because they already have some evidence of the thing. They have some evidence that sparks an inquiry. And then they look further to see if there's more information. But here, they didn't have any information to start. They just willed it into existence, which is, not exactly ideal. The FBI says it's addressed the issues highlighted in the report, but I have my doubts on this particular domain in terms of their internal processes and how they've handled it, but okay. In the report, Mr. Durham, who was appointed by William Barr at the time, and now, of course, reports to Merrick Garland because different attorney general, accused the FBI of acting on raw, unanalyzed, and uncorroborated intelligence. In other words, it's something someone made up. It was a rumor. It was some hearsay. It was a whisper in the wind. Not exactly great for a full-blown inquiry. Among investigative mistakes made were repeated instances of confirmation bias in which the FBI ignored information that undercut the initial premise. So that is a problem that can happen to everyone with confirmation bias. Once we reach a conclusion, it is very easy to ignore evidence that counters our conclusion and only accept evidence that supports our conclusion. It's something that happens to everybody, and sort of thing. So that it happened to the FBI is not exactly surprising, but of course is nevertheless disturbing because, there's a lot of different people in the FBI, and you hope that, with various processes and protocols, you can get around some of those problems, but apparently not so much. The report noted several differences in the way the FBI handled the investigation when compared to other potentially sensitive inquiries, such as those involving 2016's Hillary Clinton. So the FBI, of course, by its nature, looks into sensitive issues. And when they do sensitive issues, that normally requires a different process. Same thing for the Department of Justice. When they're going after different kinds of targets that are more sensitive, it's a more rigorous process. So different levels of review. But these two issues, which are similar in their sensitivity, and one would imagine would be held in a similar way, were not in fact held a similar way. Mr. Durham's report notes that Clinton and others received defensive briefings from the FBI aimed at those who might be targets, but Trump did not. So one of the things the FBI does is they warn people about things that they might not know that they're doing, right? You seem to be unintentionally coordinating with a spy, for example. We'd really prefer that you not do that because people don't necessarily know because spies are supposed to be hidden. So the FBI will go to a campaign and be like, hey, we used to have some evidence that this is not necessarily a good person to talk to. So you might want to watch yourself on that. But they didn't do that for Trump. They didn't give him that briefing, which, that's really concerning. The Department of Justice and FBI failed to uphold the important mission of strict fidelity to the law. In a statement, the FBI said it already implemented dozens of corrective actions. I have my doubts on the dozens of corrective actions. Had those reforms been in place in 2016, the missteps, that's a very charitable way of phrasing it, missteps, missteps in the same way that a person, when they rob a bank, makes a misstep. So, yeah, so we appreciate your minimization language, but yeah. The missteps identified in the report could have been prevented. Could have been prevented, I'll take note. Not even would have been prevented. So even the FBI themselves are not that confident in the reforms because they say, had the reforms been in place, it could have been prevented, not would have been. So even the FBI is apparently not so sure. Wow. The FBI investigation into alleged ties between Trump and Russia, which was carried out by Mueller, among, of course, other people, led to dozens of criminal charges against Trump campaign staff and associates for crimes including computer hacking and financial crime, but did not expose that Trump and Russia had conspired together. So, not so much with the collusion between Trump and Russia. Russia ultimately went nowhere. The Steele dossier went nowhere. I mean, the Steele dossier was basically invented and was manufactured. So, not surprising it didn't go anywhere. They just really, really wanted it to. But no. Yeah. Writing on social media, Mr. Trump said the report showed the American people was scammed. There were definitely some, what did they say, missteps? Yeah. He cited the report's conclusion. There had not been enough evidence to warrant a full investigation. Mr. Trump has long claimed members of the deep state are targeting him unfairly. Well, Mr. Trump has a point because it seems like members of the FBI were in fact targeting him unfairly. So it's not paranoia if they really are out to get you. Last year, Mr. Trump said he believed the report would provide evidence of really bad, evil, unlawful, and unconstitutional activities and reveal corruption at a level never before seen. The report falls short of blockbuster revelations and prosecutions that some Trump allies had hoped for from the inquiry. The 4-year investigation has resulted in 3 prosecutions. They included an FBI attorney who pleaded guilty to altering evidence. Please don't alter the evidence. That'd be great, specifically if you're an attorney in particular, that whole duty of candor and ethics thing. So just please don't alter evidence in general. Also, don't do it if you're an attorney. That's bad. While applying for permission to eavesdrop. So he altered information to go lie to the FISA court because the FISA court is so famous for rejecting applications. He felt the need to lie to them. Wow. The president cited some court filings as part of a lawsuit that he filed against Clinton and several other Democrats, alleging that they applied to undermine his presidential bid. A judge dismissed that particular lawsuit as frivolous, which it was in that particular instance. Mr. Durham and his investigation are not likely to disappear from national headlines, I wouldn't think. Shortly after news the report will be publicly released, Jim Jordan announced that he'd be calling back the former U.S. attorney to testify before Congress about his work, because of course Congress wants those headlines. They definitely want to get their reels for their, campaign ads and stuff like that. So they'll definitely be asking some further questions. Thus, that brings us to the end of the story about Special Counsel John Durham, who was initially appointed by Attorney General Barr and has been working for the last couple of years investigating and doing a report with respect to the FBI and how they, completely fudged everything up when it comes to the investigation into Donald Trump, and also treated Donald Trump campaign differently than they treated the Hillary Clinton campaign. And many, many missteps were made. But it's okay. The FBI has assured us that, those responsible have been held to account and everything is all better now. Well, I just feel real reassured myself on that one. Well, we'll see how that develops. And that, for the moment, brings us end of discussion of this case. Push the button.